called Jonathan Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I found that speech very interesting, and especially as the member opposite talked about the super priority aspect of the bill, which actually gives the courts, as it says, priority over other securities or security holders regarding a debt if that person owes a fine to the court. What that enables the situation to develop is that if a person goes to a finance company and seeks to raise a loan to purchase perhaps a vehicle, and that finance company discovers that there is a super priority against that person because of unpaid fines, that finance company is most unlikely to advance those funds, knowing that the courts have first claim. Mr. Nash talked about the naming and shaming aspect of that, but I guess he doesn't understand that it was the Honourable Rick Barker who said that he authored that idea. Isn't that interesting? I would have hoped that you would have talked to yourselves about ideas like that. He thought it was a brilliant idea. And in fact, many people I've talked to, and all credit to the Honourable Rick Barker, who had some significant part to do in preparing this bill over the number of years, many people feel that that has got some merit, because what it will do, it will bring accountability. It will bring accountability to people who purchase vehicles, have high amounts of indebtedness against them, incur incredibly high numbers of fines and don't pay those. And let me tell you that when it was put in my local newspaper that $95 million was written off the amount of debt owned by people with regarding fines, that people contacted me outraged that that level of fine amount was written off. People generally feel it's unfair. You know what they also feel? Not that it's unfair, but that it actually is a scoffing or a contempt of our legal system. That when a person has fines, that they don't pay them, and people feel that there is a watering down and undermining of our justice system when people don't pay. And so I can say, Mr. Speaker, that this bill is bringing greater power. It's bringing actually a more modernised automated system which is going to enable the communication between those who own fines and the courts to happen more readily. It's going to enable far greater efficiency and far greater compliance amongst people who do incur a fine for whatever reason it may be to actually pay that amount. As people have said, what about the amount that is owed? What good that could do to our economy? Indeed, that's true. And so we have this alarming problem. And this bill will go a long way to ensure that we will see credibility of the justice system and monetary penalties being viewed as a credible sanction. And I have to say that I was incredibly shocked at Mr. Locke's presentation of his views regarding this bill. You know, I don't believe that if you are a person who may not have a high income, that is an excuse not to pay a fine. The choice is not to cause the infringement in the first place. And what we need to have is a greater sense of responsibility in our country. And look, I know that some people say that they can't afford to get their cars warranted. Well, if that's the case, they can't afford to drive them. They shouldn't be driving an unwarranted car, because that car is not deemed to be safe. It's irresponsible to other road users. And it is a travesty and it is an outrage that people say that that does not matter in this House. This House, excuse me, you have no idea what you think that I have ideas about.
Order.
All right? All you're talking through is just your own opinions and your perspective. which you have no idea, Madam, yourself.
Now, order. I know what the member's going to say.
Well, I will leave it there for you. I'll leave it for you.
Sit down. The member's bringing me into the debate, and you cannot say you. That includes the presiding officer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Anyway, sir, this bill will address the issues through the implementation of an automated credit reporting system which will create a low-cost incentive for people to proactively contact the courts to resolve their fines. Mr. Speaker, we need to have a system in our society that addresses issues of non-compliance. I know that the New Zealand Police have an internal policy called compliance, and in the Select Committee, as we heard about that, we applauded that because it enabled people who had an infringement within a certain period of time to do something about that and to spend what would normally be paid on a fine to bring their vehicle up to compliance. And I think that as a Select Committee we thought that that was a very good policy to have. And we also noted that local authorities have the same ability, but there is inconsistency throughout the country in regard to that. However, Mr. Speaker, it's good to know that that common sense does exist. I commend this bill to the House. Thank you.
Members, this debate is concluded. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary will say no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Yeah. Ayes have it. Party vote. I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
58 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
41 votes in favour.
Green Party.
9 votes opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
5 votes in favour.
Maori Party.
E wha ngā pōti tautoko.
Could I just ask the member to repeat the vote, please? The Maori member, could I ask the Maori member to repeat their vote, please?
E wha ngā pōti tautoko.
All in favour.
Tasi lua tolu wha.
Progressive.
1 vote in favour.
United Future.
1 vote in favour.
The Honourable Chris Carter. Any other votes?
Sir, I
Point of order, Materia Ture.
just made a mistake in the number of votes for the Green Party. It's 8 opposed, not 9.
Okay, 8 opposed, thank you. Members, the ayes are 110, the noes are 8. The motion is agreed to.
Courts and Criminal Matters Bill, second reading.
This bill is set down for committee stage next sitting day.